Hey guys, so coming on, we are going to do a resin pouring of our little honey pot that we worked on in the last episode. So anytime I'm going to do some resin pouring, I want to go ahead and get this resin mixed up as soon as possible so that we can just get it mixing. That way it can rest and everything while we prep everything else. So I have my silicone mixing cups. These hold 100 ml, and that is what we are going to pour. We're going to do 100 of part B and 100 of part A. Stop just shy of it so that it can settle. My B is a little bit yellow, but if you've watched previous episodes with this yellow bee, you know that it's going to clear up no problem. Now, I keep a little tape on them so I know that this is the same part A and B. This is Artist Resin Thin Viscosity that we're using. Maybe. Almost going to get the lid off of that. Like, goodness. It's getting kind of crusty and gross up here, but that won't affect our actual resin. A comes out a lot thicker, so you'll want to stop even a little bit more shy of the 100 just as it settles in. I'm not going to rub that too much. I'm actually going to try to clean that up just a little. Just with our rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. I just kind of wipe some of that off. Try to not wipe it off and get it in our container, but hopefully that will help keep us less likely to have a hard time getting in next time. Okay. Make sure that was beautiful measurements. Alright, so then I have this big 1 cup 8 ounce silicone cup. It's our big data. Gonna hold this. I like B in first because it helps catch the thickness of the A, and that I find that it just mixes better that way. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I have a theory. I don't know. But I have done it both ways. But I do find having A or B go in first makes just a difference for me in the mixing. So you can try what works best for you as well. Don't got to follow me. Okay, so got as much as I can out, and I'm going to put my cup in a spot that I'll remember to clean it. And then A goes in, and A is sinking in, so B is basically coming around it, and that's what I like. If I put A in first, B just doesn't go through the A very well, and so I just feel like it's a little bit more stubborn to mix. Still works, just my way of doing it. Of course, I get as much out as I can because I find that makes sure that you've got even amounts of part A and B, but always check your resin's instructions. This particular Counterculture DIY Artist Resin Thin Viscosity requires it to be a 1-in-1. So they say part A, part B need to be the same. Now, I have my mixer here. This has to be plugged into the outlet. So don't plug it into, Oh goodness, I can't. I'm at a loss for words there suddenly. Don't plug it into your power strip. So I have it plugged into my outlet. And we'll have to do a little mixing on our own, but this does save my wrist quite a bit. So just hook it up and it's gonna mix. We want it to mix for about 3 minutes, which works out good. So we'll let that kind of mix. I probably, while we're letting that mix, I'm just gonna go ahead and use a little bit of my rubbing alcohol, clean this stir stick that I used, and probably clean those 2 cups, just so that I'm not sitting idle. So I'll show you how to clean this cup at the end of this pour, but for the sake of this, I want you to see the spinning of the resin. So yeah, I know on our last video I didn't get to like really catch up with everybody, so I hope everybody's doing well, having a good time. Hope you're finding your time in your craft space like me. It's so important for me. It's like a mental health prescription. I'm going to tell my therapist that, actually. I'm going to be like, you know what? I know I finally got my medication situated, but you know what? Like, people need to find what their piece is, and that should be prescribed so that they feel okay to do it. Because I will tell you that I haven't always put this as a priority. Doing my tutorials has really kind of forced it in a way, which is good. I needed that. I needed a purpose, a reason, besides my mental health. That is a very good reason. It's just, you know, we don't always listen to our own minds. Let's see. Oh, we still got a couple minutes. See, 3 minutes mixing is so long, and that's just so much on my wrist. So this really helps. I put that stir stick, it's a silicone stir stick, and I put it as close to the edge as possible. I push it all the way down to the bottom. So it should be getting a pretty good thorough mix on there. Now, when it's done mixing for 3 minutes, I am going to go behind with my own stir stick and just really make sure that I've got it totally clean. I don't want any patches where it's not mixed. So, and the best way to do that is to just best way for you to get it is to do it by hand. This is making some bubbles for sure, but I never stress about them. I know we're doing a honey pot where I would maybe stress a little bit more about them, but I'm just gonna roll with it. It's all gonna come out fine. And I think that we hyper focus on those sometimes a little too much. So, and we'll hit it with some heat and work on getting some of those popped, the bigger ones. So, round and round we go, round and round we go. Okay, been 3 minutes approximately. Maybe not exactly. Undo both of these, and then this has this thing where it just kind of lifts up, which is nice. Now our cup gets a little suctioned in here, so you gotta remember that. Slide that back out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna bring this table up a little bit for us because I'm standing here today. I wanted you to be able to see me pour the resin into the cup and see the mixing, which I needed more space to do that, but now that we're getting ready to pour it into our mold, I want you to be able to see a little bit better. Plus then I don't have to bend over as much. So I'm just gonna take this and go all the way around a few times, and then I am gonna go in the middle a few times just to make sure. I am also going to scrape the side of the stir stick kind of on all 4 sides. I know the one sides are really tiny and thin, but I just want to get any little bit that maybe didn't mix pulled in there. Then the tester is when you pull it up, you shouldn't see any stringy, wavy whiteness in there. Cloudy, it shouldn't be cloudy, it should be clear besides our bubbles, and of course the movement of the resin going to produce a little bit of cloudiness, but should be relatively clear. And you'll know if you maybe say hand mix it for about a minute and then pull your stir stick up, you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll go, oh, that's what we don't want. So just, you know, kind of not like play with it, but kind of play with it just so that you can see the more you mix, it should get not stringy. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this bad boy down so that I don't have to worry about it at the end, just because I won't use it again this time. It will get put away. Alright, so we've definitely got some bubbles. First off, I'm going to do a little pop, pop, pop onto the table with it. That helps those bubbles release at the bottom. Hopefully try to come up a little bit. And then, of course, hit a little with the heat. And I'm going to hit the sides as well. Just try to bring those up. And then we want this to sit for about 3 to 5 minutes, which will be the time that's going to wear me out, but that is important. So I'll keep an eye on the clock for us. Everything you notice when you're working with resin is silicone. Like, you want silicone. If you don't want resin to stick to it, have silicone. That's the key. So I have one of these. It's meant for the kitchen. Check out kitchen stuff for silicone pieces, because sometimes you can get creative and use things. So this is a spoon rest for next to your stove when you're cooking. You know, you set your spoon here and the rest here catches all the stuff. Well, I use it in the craft space, and I use it to hold my tools that maybe are dirty or I don't want to get another space gross. So I just have it in my craft space. It just works out good. This is a counterculture. This mat here is the counterculture silicone mat. They have a different one now. The large is the same size as this. It's cheetah print. It's really cute. I've got 2 of these though, and I love them. Best thing, protect your table. You don't have to worry about it. This is our leveling table. I am going to check to make sure it is level before we pour. And it is pretty darn level. So to protect it from the resin, granted you're going to get little bits on it, but it's fine. It's not going to change the effect. This is a silicone mat, and it can be wiped down and cleaned up. It's just everything is silicone. So any stir sticks, I do plastic or silicone stir sticks. These ones are just like a plastic stir stick. They work really well. You can clean them off with the rubbing alcohol. It's fantastic. It just makes cleanup and so forth. If you don't want to have to throw away things, and I'm big about that, I hate having waste. So I'd rather, I personally would rather have the ability to reuse things. Like if I'm going to invest in something, I want to be able to use it a few times at least. So, all right, let's see. We've only been 2 minutes. Okay. I want to get a rosebud that is going to go in there. Or not a rosebud, it's a penny bud. I think that one's going to look really cute. And I am going to put just one of these bronze glass. Actually, I say one. I'll put 3. 3 is a good number. In the, once I pour a little bit of resin, I'll put it in there and put those in. That's my plan. And then our penny bud. And then we'll probably get a few other things to go in that once we start getting this poured. But Key is to let our resin set just a little. You can see all these micro bubbles that have now surfaced up to the top. That's fantastic, because now we can just whoop, heat it up and they're gone. So that's what we're wanting. And this is Counterculture DIY's little heat gun. You can get these on Amazon. It's just that I had put in a special order with Counterculture, and you know, if you want to get certain deals or things, like I caught it on a sale. You know me, I don't pay full price usually, so the only thing I'll pay full price for typically is my resin. But typically I get some sort of coupon or something that gets applied to it. Counterculture DIY is a family owned and operated. I'm not a sponsor, although I'd be more than happy to be one. But I really like supporting them, being that they are family based, and they always have had really great stellar service. If I've ever had an issue, they take care of it. So definitely promote them. They give really clear resin. It works really well. So, in all their products, everything I've used of theirs has been fantastic. Alright, let's see. We've had a few more pop in there. Not too awful bad, but I feel like we can start pouring some of this. I'm just going to pop what I can. See what will come up and pop. Typically I wouldn't hit my resin with that much heat, but unless I knew that I was getting ready to pour it, but we're getting ready to pour it, so I'm not worried about hitting it with a little bit more heat than I usually do. Just because once you hit it with heat, guess what? It's gonna speed up the curing process and cause this to start its chemical reaction, which is what it's supposed to do. Now, I am pouring this very, very slowly. Reason for that is I want to eliminate a bunch of air pocket bubbles. So I just want that resin to really go in and settle in our pot. And one thing to do is to make sure that it's all getting in there and getting in our crevices the way we want it to, because you have this like lip area. So you want to make sure that the resin's getting down to every part. Of course, we have poured just a smidge in our lid. And I hit it with a little heat, and it's not fully popping all those bubbles, so I am going to spritz it with a little rubbing. This has some rubbing alcohol. It's like an old perfume, cheap bottle of perfume. And then I'm going to drop our 3 little guys in there. And then I'm going to fill a little bit more. And the mold now has some of that rubbing alcohol, and that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. You don't want to have like a whole pool of rubbing alcohol, but a little bit is fine. And then we'll keep going. And again, just slow and steady right in the center so that it's evenly dispersing itself. Hopefully the goal is that it's sending resin to all the way around, essentially. And it looks really good. I'm going to stop there though, so that we can assess where we're at as far as the filling. I feel like it's using a lot of resin, and I don't see a ton filled up. I'm like, is there a hole in here? Probably not. It's just probably taking a while to fill all that. Got a lot of micro bubbles going on over here. So I'm going to try to get some of those out of there. When you're doing heat, you definitely want to keep the resin moving and your heat gun moving so that you're not getting one area burnt or heated up too much, typically. And you don't want to burn your mold. The reason why I like the heat gun versus like a torch or something is because you're less likely to burn it. but you can still burn it with it. So the rubbing alcohol definitely just helped pop that, a lot of those micro bubbles. And now I'm going to put our penny bud, and I'm going to try to just get it as even as possible and right at that center point. And then we'll probably stick a few petals or things around. It's not going to want to fully stay. I see a big old bubble. It's going to try to float. So we might have to keep kind of pushing it down, so forth, and aligning it where I kind of want it. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. So, whoop, it didn't go right in the center, so just try to make up for it a little. Hoping to see some progress. I'm guessing, based on what I'm seeing, we will have to do another 100 ml to finish this. Just seems to be the way it's gonna go. Oh, I'm finally seeing it come up the sides. Yay! That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple little, just gentle, as I'm like holding it. I'm not, oops, I put my hand right in the center. So this paper towel still has some rubbing alcohol on it, so that will do it. That's why we wear gloves. I'm just holding it though as I'm popping it down, just giving it some little gentle encouragement to bring any bubbles up. You can also squeeze it, and sometimes that will release a bubble to the surface of the resin, and that helps also get it around all of our flowers and goodies that are in there. I'm trying to look at where, I think it's right here is where I want to add a little greenery or shove a few things in here, because we were lacking in that area. I'll put this one over here. Okay, where are my tweezers? Where did they go? I had them earlier. I was like, clearly with the glove, I already struggle with these without gloves. Let's, oh, come on. I want you to flip the other way. I mean, I am worried that it will get an air pocket in it, but I would rather it be this way because it's prettier. There we go. Okay. And I can grab a few more of these pieces if I need to. I'm just gonna sort of, while that resin's setting up, throw a couple more of these down in here. And then also into our lid, because we want to bring over the same kind of color scheme that we had going, or have going, in pieces. So I'm just kind of dropping those in. I think it needs a couple more maybe of these orange guys. Let's get a couple of them. Not super concerned about like where they land per se, just as long as they're sort of proportioned out from each other. I know I dropped another one. It's under there. Yay! Okay. Let me see. Let me see. want to get another one of these. Okay, it's looking good. If you hear a funny noise, it's my husband's opening the garage. He wanted to get the recycling ready to go. That's fine. I'm gonna go to the craft space. You know, like, you do some household chores, baby. I'm gonna go to my craft space. So good. Alright, let's keep going here. This is rather quite beautiful. At least I hope it is. I really don't know if it is, but you know, we're gonna go with that it is. We're coming up kind of quick. I'll slow down. You can definitely see some possible air pockets, so we'll work on that here in just a minute. Of course, when you add more resin, those pieces are going to move around a little bit, and that's okay. Got a big few air bubbles. And bring them to the surface. And that's the advantage of the squeezing method, is just to bring those kind of more up, and then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of heat. Just kind of, oh, those flowers there, they're going to probably go on this center piece at the bottom. I might throw in a little spritz or two of rubbing alcohol. Just to kind of help with those. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up just a smidge more so that I can get to some of these bubbles. I think if my resin is more and filled up, that some of these will be more accessible. So now it gets really interesting when we squeeze, because we definitely could push the resin over, but like I see this bubble, I'm like, you're gonna get got. I'm gonna get you. Ooh, it's getting hot. Hot in my hand. Making my way. I just sprayed my petals everywhere. I knew that was I was gonna do that because it kept almost happening. Look at all these bubbles that just surfaced. So I'll probably hang out in here just a little bit just to kind of watch some of that. Now, I blew these everywhere. This one's really pretty. I like it. So I'm going to put it here so that when you look inside the honey pot, that it will show. So it's gonna, my goal was to get it full enough that I could put these pieces in. And then this one, so I'm doing it upside down. See how pretty it is? I'm going to go upside down with it because I want it to be when you look inside the honey pot that you see it. Well, I'm just giving them a gentle push to go down in to the resin. And that. There's a few other little pieces. Let's see, did I blow anybody else? Just this little piece. Okay. And a couple itty bitty pieces maybe I'll put in here just to, because I got them. Okay. Now we do have some bubbles that have come up. I'm going to go ahead and do a little squeeze. Okay. Hopefully don't lose those down the side. Here is like just a smidge, just a rim of these bubbles. I don't know if I'm going to be able to shift them. They're like hanging on for dear life. That's what they're doing. Now I'm using a silicone brush to do this around the edge. I would not do anything else, because if you do something metal or sharp, it's going to potentially scratch your mold up and leave a permanent imprint of whatever you scratched. Definitely some bubbles hanging on, but not terrible. Not super bad. I'm probably going to stop there with the lid, because I'm afraid if I do any more, I will not be able to keep this center one deep enough under the lid. So I want to go ahead and let this lid cure at this level so that that can stay further in, and I can do one more coat to kind of fill that in. And probably the same here. If I do too much more resin in here, it's going to push some of these pieces to the top and you won't have a coat of resin over them. So, oh, and see, my one bud is trying to float. I'm gonna have to something there. We'll figure that out in a sec. I was thinking though, I might just put one of these little figgies right here, because it doesn't hurt to have that layered a little. And a few little green sprigs just poking up, just to bring our whole theme of this piece right into it. Yeah, you might go down in there. Go on. That's where you headed, so guess what? That's where you're going. Yeah. Nothing too fancy. I need a weight on this. I'm like, I need you to stay. I should have almost UV resined it. Yeah. Maybe that would have worked. I don't know if that would have worked, really. I've had a little bit more on here, because it might help seal these pieces just a smidge more down. But we're going to have another bottom coat anyway. I don't have a ton of resin in that, but it's not resin that I'm going to waste. Y'all know that. Like, absolutely not going to waste that resin. So, let's figure out what we're going to do as our dump mold. This one is always a good one. It's just kind of dirty. It's kind of dirty at the moment, but we're going to clean it up. Okay, so it looks funny because I've got it inside out right now, so that I can use some packing tape to clean all the dust particles that are in it. And I'm going to slide this one this way. And I'm going to keep an eye on that bud as we move along, and maybe even after I stop recording, I might come back in like 20 minutes and just reposition it as that resin begins to cure and solidify over it. Now this mold, you might notice some pink in it. That's not what I'm worried about. This pink got stained in it. But there's just some like glitter pieces and so forth, micas that I'm trying to get off. I don't have nails because I've got gloves on. Come on. Let's see if I can't use this to my advantage. Which way is to peel it? I know it's right here. Watch it not be right there. I think it's up here. Helps if you have your tape on the right line. I just couldn't see my line and wasn't working. So that just helps get some of those loose particles out of there. So my tape had been twisting on itself because I've got gloves on, so it makes it harder. But now we'll pop this the right way out, or the pouring correctly mold. So I want some color. I don't want to just leave it hanging. So I'm probably going to transfer this into a paper cup because I don't want the colorant to get my mold or my cup stained. And instead of a paper cup, I grabbed a plastic cup. Same diff. Well, not really, because plastic cup will break. Whereas a paper cup will bend, but that's okay. It's all good. Same diff for what we're doing. Oh yeah, we got a big bubble on the honey pot part. Let's see. So that's one thing you just want to watch as it starts settling a little bit more. If I walked away right now, I would have some pretty decent sized bubbles that would cure. And it'd be really sad. Granted, it'd be on the bottom, but still. You didn't want it like that. Okay. All covered. So, can y'all see this? Oh, it's getting hot. That big bubble right there. So we're just gonna make sure that he gets popped. And it's definitely getting warm. That resin is doing its thing because it is warmed up on the side of that. I'm gonna go ahead and spritz it a few times just to keep popping those edge bubbles that are persnickety. I'm gonna work a little bit quick here. Alright, grabbing some alcohol ink. Alcohol ink will help the resin thin just a little bit because it's getting real thick because it's sat a little bit longer. So this is getting real sticky. So instead of adding mica to it, which would thicken it even more, I wanted to add the rubbing alcohol so that it would allow me to have more ability to pour it and not have that stickiness. And then we're going to add a little bit of purple drops to this, and you can tell I didn't mix it very well because there's some darker stringies, which is fine. I'm not worried about that for this piece because this piece is just a fun, hey, let's experiment. You know, what would happen if you did this or that? That's kind of what I'm doing. Oh, the alcohol ink smells funky. We got a funky smell happening. There are some bubbles in there, so we're hoping that if I... Oh, I saw that one pop. That's good. Again, I try to get as much as I can out, but I know that I'm going to throw this cup away, so it's not the end of the world. This is another silicone piece. It's a silicone stir stick from Counterculture DIY. These little guys are my bomb diggity when I go to do colorings. It's just my go-to stir piece. I love them. Okay. I love that blue. Teal. It's turquoise by Breweries. Alright. So this will just get wiped off just like we do everything else. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off so that the colorant doesn't stain too bad. And then, oh, that's high. Let's go low. Low, low, low. I'm just going to hit the bottom just a little bit. Just so that hopefully, and this will be our dump pour. I call it dump pour when it's just leftover resin and we're playing. That's what my dump pours are. They sometimes come out super, super cute. Sometimes they're fine. Here's a completed, well, it's not completed because I haven't cleaned up the edge, but here's a dump pour. Look how cool that one came out. It's just kind of a fun. It comes out in layers because you pour it in layers. This was a dump pour as well. Just kind of a fun little thing. The mold we're using is actually this shape. It's an oval shape, so it's really fun. And this was a dump pour. Look at the different layers. But it just, they come out so unique. And I just think it's so much fun. So, 1, never waste resin. 2, doing a dump pour, like, you might have some really cool creations. So, I like that. One thing I thought of to add to the lid was a few of our little stone mica pieces to go along with what we have in the jar part. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few of those in here. Resin's still sticky enough that it will catch those and hold them. And then of course we're going to do another layer over top, so I'm not worried about that side. Okay. Just a little more glam. Glam and glory for it. Go on in there. Thank you. Okay, let's bring you over here. There's a petal. Okay, let's see if we can push you down where I want you to be. I'm trying to think. Actually, this is pretty weighted, so I'm going to do that so that it doesn't go above our mold part. I wish there was like a little something I could put in between it, but at least, well, this might even work well. I feel like that's pretty good because that's going to help push it, keep it pushed down where it's supposed to be. And being that that's silicone, even if the resin gets on it, it's going to peel right off. So I'm not worried about it getting stuck on there. But at least it's holding it in place and we won't have it diminish our prettiness. Okay, we've got a few bubbles up here, and this is getting super cured because they are not wanting to pop with the heat. So we're being stubborn, which, okay, we get. You like to pop, you don't like to be popped. We understand, but come on. All my pieces end up, I feel like in the bottoms like this, they just end up with these little micro bubbles that just, for whatever reason, are there and they just don't come out. It's just where all the bubbles float to, I guess. So. And truthfully, it's not the end of the world. Now that I have my journal, cleaning that up's really not that big a deal. But it'd be fun if I didn't have to do cleanup on it, you know? If it would just go without it, then I wouldn't have to worry about it, right? Yeah, well, that's our theory. But sometimes the best thing to do is just pull the resin up and out that has the bubble. Although I think I just created a bubble. That way it just is out of there. Don't have to worry about it. Okay, so this is looking good. I like that. Obviously I wish it would push it a little bit further maybe, but it's fine. Yeah, it works. I was trying to see if I could get creative anywhere else, but I think that's really good. So, since those are all set, I am going to put a dust cover over them so that dust doesn't get on them and no like little buggies try to fly in and stick into our resin. We don't want that. I want to keep our resin clear, gooped free. So, just moving things around, put things back. That I just I'll wipe with some rubbing alcohol in a minute. Dang, I see another bubble. I'm gonna get this little guy because he's got a little pointier tip. I don't know if that's really helping me or hindering. Got him. Probably what I'm going to do is just stay in this space a little bit. It's getting really stringy, so I do have to be careful that I don't make it like all stringy on here. Now, the one positive thing, I probably am going to fill this with just a little bit of color, whatever color that might be. It might be this like teal, or I'm probably going to go a little darker. I'll probably use a mica just to give colorant accent behind these pieces. Same with the lid. Whatever color I choose, I'll probably just go ahead and choose for the lid to make those colors pop in there and tie it together. Dust covers I have are just like a food flag cover for camping or outside entertaining. So it just looks like this, and then it just pops up basically and creates this cover that over shields my resin. So I'm gonna put that on. Thing is, I just somehow got myself stuck, y'all. The thing is, my hand is stuck. I am stuck in here. My glove is stuck. Sorry, it bounced, y'all. I don't know what happened there. Okay, there we go. Cool. One of the wires bent the wrong way. Jammed my glove in there. I'm going to slide this over though so that I can show you how to clean up. And then before I leave them, I will cover them. I'm going to leave it open for just a smidge. See if I need to do any bubble popping before I cover it and leave it. These will need to cure. I would minimum cure for 6 hours. Honestly speaking, I would probably cure for a minimum of 8 hours just to avoid any major issues. That's just my personal take. Normally, I would be pouring in the late evening, and so I would just, you know, come check them in the morning. I'll probably still do that. It's mid-afternoon here right now, but I'll probably still check them in the morning and not mess with them tonight, just to let them get a full cure, especially where this honey pot is so deep, like thick and deep, I want to let it fully have a chance to cure itself up before molding it. It's definitely becoming very stringy resin. I was trying to get a few of these little bubbles out, and it's just, I'm probably at the point of, I just need to leave it alone. Truthfully, that's probably where I'm at. But, you know, the perfectionist in me can't seem to stop. Okay. Goodness. Like, just let it go. Okay, so, rubbing alcohol. Best friend with resin. This says 91%. It actually has 99% in it. This is an Equate brand bottle because I love this felt. But I buy, I'm gonna subscribe and save a pack of bottles, and they're cute little smaller bottles. It takes about a bottle and a half to fill that. And they're super cute, but they do not have that lovely spout. And that lovely spout allows me to, you know, do this on my paper towel that I'm using to clean, and it allows me to have more control of where that goes, opposed to these other bottles that give me no control. So I pour them into that, which it's about time to do. It's getting pretty low. It's down here, but maybe next video. Alright, so this was my one. I cleaned all my tools with it. They didn't have a ton of resin on them, so cleaned all my tools. Now it's just about this. Alright, the Echo wants to join in, and ding at us. It's just now about getting our cup cleared. And so it will take a few rounds to do that, because you want to be able to go in and really go round and round and get every part of your cup. Now, there's no, like, it's a little bumpy here, but for the most part, these silicone cups are where it's at, because you don't have a lot of rivets and hiding places for that resin to be. I also like to wipe off my outside, because the outside from just handling gets kind of gross. And I usually do one last one, and I wipe my gloves really well. Rub that really well. I don't worry about drying any of it, because guess what? It's rubbing alcohol. It's going to evaporate and be just fine. And then I'll actually let this paper towel dry out in my space. It's not a big deal, of course. It's not like, oh, I can't waste it or throw it away. It's a paper towel. It's not that deep. But I will use it next time as my first one to clean the resin part of my cup. I'll throw rubbing alcohol on it and then use that to clean it the first round, and I find that just really works for me and gives it a second use. Now, I won't keep the one that already has all that resin on it. That's pretty bad. Sometimes my hands, when I get that off, still feels really tacky. I don't know, sometimes if it's the gloves that I use, or just I inadvertently get a little bit of resin. So I keep hand sanitizer in my workspace. Now, don't come at me, okay? Because I realize hand sanitizer and rubbing alcohol can actually make the resin go in you. But I don't have like a whole lot of resin on me. The other thing that I do have is this resin remover. It's a hand cleaner for uncured epoxy resin, glue, paint, and hard to remove substances. And it's a strong cleanser, but gentle on the skin. It does create like a, I don't know, like a filmy kind of thing. No matter what, as soon as I'm done in my craft space, I'm going down to wash my hands. I just don't have a soap and water in this space, in a sink. So, you know, it's not like I'm letting that sit on my hands a really long time. I literally turn off the video, I walk out of here, and I go wash my hands. So I'm not, you know, letting it just fully sit there. But for me to be able to like touch my phone, I need to have clean hands. So that's what I do. All right, I got our little dust cover over our resin. There were a few little micro bubbles, but I told myself just let them be. Let them. If you haven't read the let them theory, that's really interesting. Mental health. Just saying, I haven't read it all, but I'm partway through it and it's very fascinating. So that's my spiel. Not that I intended it to. I swear I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything at this time. So anything I mention is truly from experience and truly my opinion. All right. Hope everybody is well, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.